over time, this may sort of become part of policy, where you have to there has to be like a government audited structure in your organization, where you get your data from, whether you're able to ensure that whoever data you're taking, you're either notifying them or getting consent, all of that would happen.
LinkedIn article, if I'm not wrong, and it says why OpenAI cannot be trusted. Can a self-governance structure guarantee safety and ethics in AI development? Very contrary to what we spoke, and So let's see what it's a content slider. So they have just given a gist of the whole big article. So we are self-governance fails. So we are cautiously optimistic that OpenAI's innovative approach to self-governance could offer a blueprint for responsible AI development. But based on our experience, we believe that self-governance cannot reliably withstand the pressure of profit incentives. So this
Okay,
is
so this is the
irony.
whole.
I mean, you cannot have a business say that okay, we are developing an AI and then you have self-governance. When you have profit, when you have something that, which might attract more profit,
They
maybe
need like
it's like
auditors.
yeah, the motives can change.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
everyone is here. All this investment and money is, though they may say that it is improvement for humanity, but at the end of the day, all these people are putting in money to make more money, right?
Again, like I think in the previous article we saw about what 60 governments have an AI policy and all of that, right? So over time, this may sort of become part of policy, where you have to there has to be like a government audited structure in your organization, where you get your data from, whether you're able to ensure that whoever data you're taking, you're either notifying them or getting consent, all of that would happen right, soon. And that may change things a bit, but the only problem with this is that the government is the only person who can do this, right? I don't think there's anyone, like another industry cannot do this to the AI industry.
So there's a lot of regulation the government needs to bring in. Then they're putting it really right. They said initially it was for non-profit and AGI, and now benefit for all humanity, and now all the money and the whole leadership is all looking at just making more money and getting when more big companies come in, investors come in, they all have to generate profit.
I'd like to compare this to another existing sort of industry that we have. So the banking and the money, wherever there's money involved, right? So those are highly regulated, right? So things move slow and everything. But I'm imagining a time where the concept of money just started, like printed money, right? Before the barter system and all. So at that time, it was definitely not regulated, right? It was gold, right? So over time, over 100, 200, 300 years, the whole system of banks and all of that came in, right? So there is a possibility that after governments figure out in 100, 200 years, they may figure out a way, or 50, 60 years in this case, they may figure out a way to actually put processes in check. That, if you're an AI company, if you're training something in AI, you have to.
I think that's already happening, right? I think the European Union already passed something saying that hey, this is how we are going to regulate AI, and I think India also kind of created some sort of a national registry of companies who are working on AI, especially training beyond a certain token size or something like that. So you have to kind of register with things like that, right? So that's definitely, if you look at historically, right? So I think governments always, either on one side, like it's the EU and stuff like that, who are like the extreme regulation and everything, which also kind of impedes a lot of the pace at which companies can kind of evolve, and companies can kind of innovate and then develop and stuff like that, right? So on the other side of it, there could be companies there are countries that with zero regulation and stuff like that. I think there's going to be some sort of a sweet spot. I think it's too early to kind of talk about a national entity to kind of come back and say that, hey, this is how we are going to regulate AI, because there is very little understanding of how this is going to pan out. So at this point in time, a lot of this is kind of experimental. We are all just kind of getting to see what's coming out of it, right? So for example, Google was sitting on something like this for a long time, but they never released it. So just because of, I don't know, for whatever reasons, it could be because of accuracy reasons and stuff like that, for the use case or stuff like that, so they just couldn't do it. But what they were good at is, like, they always had an internal oversight committee and stuff like that, right? They have done well in the past, but yes, at some point in time they were doing well. After that, they kind of fired their entire ethics committee and stuff like that. So there's also that part of it that kind of overshadows some of the good that they have tried to do in the past, right? And similarly with Meta also has some, and because of the massive compute that's kind of needed for this, it was always the bigger ones, right? So it was always the Google, the Metas of the world, Microsoft of the world, who could essentially like invest on it and do something about it. But yeah, external oversight, it's like, to what extent, do you want to impede the pace at which companies are able to innovate at this point in time, and also kind of protect people's interests also, right? When it comes to like a national interest, it's not just a company or a particular piece of technology trying to make as much profit as it can, but it's also kind of taking care of the entire population base, right? So they can't make a decision based on saying that, hey, this skilled subset, this 1% of the people who are skilled in this, they are gonna massively benefit from something like this, versus the rest of the country wouldn't, right? So yes, definitely, like, so it's very complicated at this point in time, but I think things will kind of evolve and for the better, and somewhere will land in between that scale of saying that extreme regulation to like extreme relaxed, capital profit driven